I think, a lot of the time, because I talked my sister into letting go of the TV. I don't want her to have to pay every month for it when I don't even watch it, because my roommate liked the remote. Since they're both Cox cable TVs, then if my roommate will turn my roommate's TV on and stuff, which is annoying, and I don't like it, and so I just hardly even watch TV, and so there's no point paying for it. She's gonna send me a tablet instead. But in the meantime, I was thinking, and so one of the things that got me thinking was, is God sadistic? Because throughout history, like over generations of history, then Christians, a lot of people who's had no other fault except being Christian, they've been persecuted and tortured and sent to the lion's den or whatever, sent to, I don't know, in prison and murdered and everything else just for claiming the name of Christ. And then there's people like me who just have diseases and illnesses, and kids with cancer. You see them on commercials for St. Jude's or whatever. You see all these kids that have cancer, and you wonder, why is there so much bad stuff in the world? Why, if God is God, okay, he's all powerful, he's all knowing, he can do whatever he wants, why doesn't he fix some of this stuff? And then you think about it. But I like the Shaq movie and book. I think they give you a good representation of who God is. And they do a thing in the Shaq when the guy, his daughter was kidnapped and probably molested and killed and stuff by some serial killer or whatever. Why? But then they let him be in charge of deciding, okay, who would you pinch out if you could just destroy whatever? Would you destroy the child molester? Would you destroy that guy's dad because maybe that guy's dad molested him? Maybe that guy's teacher molested him or whatever. So maybe the grandpa molested the dad, who molested the son, who molested the kids, or whatever. You never know how far back it goes. And so would you like to be the one who decides where to stop it? And so God gave us a choice in the beginning. He let us choose. His one rule that he gave himself was to never mess with humanity's free will. And so that's cool. I think that's a good thing, but humanity is obviously not very good at making choices, which God already knew, okay? Because he knew this all from the beginning of time, and he still set it in motion because he knows that there are some of us who do love him and who want to make this experience worthwhile, and who celebrate life and who enjoy the moment, and who live to the best of their abilities. But he also knew that, okay, once we chose that we weren't going to play by God's rules, okay, we weren't going to just, he gave us one rule in the beginning, okay, Adam and Eve don't eat out of this tree. Adam and Eve decided to eat out of the tree anyway. If Adam and Eve hadn't done it, their sons, one of them would have, okay, if not one of them, then somebody else down the line. So eventually somebody would have eaten out of the tree. If God gave them a different rule, somebody would have broken it, okay? But the thing is that God gave us rules, and he knew we were going to break them. we always do. We're not good at making good decisions. But he lets us decide because he doesn't want a bunch of automated robot people. He wants us to have free will. He wants us to have the ability to choose. And so I think that's why he gives it to us. And I believe, I personally believe in reincarnation, okay? You might not. But I believe that sometimes God lets spirits have another chance at life because I think sometimes spirits feel like they got taken out of this world too quickly or in some kind of tragic way, and he lets us come back and try it again. But I don't know if that's true or not. I believe in ghosts too. I believe that the people who die without Jesus, who either don't know about him or for whatever other reason they die without Jesus, then I think they're stuck here as ghosts, okay? Or they go to hell. If, like, I don't know if they deserve hell, but I mean, there's who's to say, well, I don't know. I think that hell is a grand, like, conceptual mystery. I think that Satan, for a while, I was praying for Satan. I love Satan in a lot of ways. I think that he's, everybody screws up, okay? There's a villain in every story, and I think Satan is the villain in our life story, and so that, gives me a love for him in some way, but I decided to stop praying for him because he's obviously not going to get saved. Like, God already knew that. He knew from the beginning of time. He knew that some angels, some humans, some people were just going to reject him and the whole experience, the whole idea of him. And I wonder if Satan thought he was God, and Satan thought, I can be just as good as you can be, God. I can do this, world thing. I can rule over humanity. And so he tried, and he obviously doesn't do a very good job because we kill each other and we hurt each other, and life just kind of sucks here on earth because there's diseases and corruption and all these things that make life really miserable for a lot of us. But it still is worthwhile, okay? Because in the grand scheme of things, then life is really short, okay? Life in the grand scheme of things is really short, and we've got to just enjoy every second. And I'm trying to now. I'm in a nursing home. I'm just laying on bed all day. I'm trying to enjoy life, but I have bed sores. I have bed sore on my foot. I have bed sores on my butt. And I don't feel like it's really worthwhile right now. I pray, why don't you take me home, God? That's what got me thinking, is God sadistic? Because I wondered, well, is he, why doesn't he just take me home? He knows I'm struggling. I'm sitting here on bed, but then again, there's people who've been martyred and all that stuff, and he didn't take them home and think about Jesus. Jesus was God's son. Jesus had to die this horrible death on the cross, and Jesus prayed, God, if it's possible, take this from me. But, it wasn't God's will. God just knew that somebody had to pay the price. And so it ended up being Jesus, which Jesus is the light of the world, so now he's the way. He's sits at the right hand of God. Now he is elevated to like this high position in God's kingdom and stuff. So I think that's cool. It works out in the long run, but it's so difficult in the meantime. And I wonder, like, with life so difficult, like, I mean, there's babies born with these horrible cancers or disfigurities or whatever that's going to make their life really hard. And it just, like, in the grand scheme of things, it's short, yes, but it feels so long. And I just think that no, God's not sadistic. He gave us a choice. We chose to do things the hard way, and so he lets us live with our choice, okay? But he didn't want us to make this choice. He wanted us to just stay and walk with him in the garden and do all that stuff. He knew we weren't going to because he's God. He knows everything. He created us, okay? He created us to have a free will and to be able to make choices. And I think he wants us to. I think he wants us to embrace our choices and to live our destinies. But at the same time, I think that when we make good choices, it makes him happy. It shows, like, I don't know, it just makes it makes him happy, I guess. It makes us happy. It makes our lives a whole lot easier. But it also, it's good. I think that God, like, enjoys us making good choices, but he also knows we're not very good at it, and we're going to make a lot of bad ones and a couple of good ones. And I think that doesn't mean that God's a sadist. It means that humanity is broken, that we are broken creature that was never meant to be this way, but we chose it. We chose to live life like this and to be like masters of our own destiny. We all think that we're God, and we think that we rule the planet or our little bubble of our world that we call life. We think that we're in charge of stuff, and then something happens, like a natural disaster, a sinkhole develops, or any other thing that shows us that, wow, I'm actually just a little dot in this universe that was created by something much bigger than I am, and something much stronger than I am, and something that is more powerful than we could even imagine. And that something loves you. He loves me. He loves all of us, and he wants us to get to know him on another level. And I feel like all this time spent in the hospital has brought me, like, closer in a way, but also it forces me to think a lot of hard questions and to really examine what I believe and stuff. Part of that is because I spend so much time thinking, but also I don't know, like, I watch YouTube videos, I watch all this stuff, I watch, like, life after death stuff, I watch, like, videos of reincarnations, I watch, like, documentaries all the time about natural disasters, like, and chemical, like, reactions and nuclear disasters and wars and all this crazy stuff that we seem to be so immersed in. And I think, and it's not good to always think all the time, okay? So don't think too much, but at the same time, if you are gonna think, then try to think about something good. Think of a way you can make life better for someone else. And if you can't do that right now, then maybe don't give up, but maybe just make a YouTube video about it or something.